East LA. Well, let's see your green card, huh?
Green card? I'm from East LA.
All right, well, then who's president of the United States?
Oh, that's easy, man. That guy used to be on Death Valley days. John Wayne.
All right, let's go. Come on.
Hello, I'm Steve Cubby, Libertarian for President. I'd like to talk with you for a few minutes about a very important and terribly divisive issue, immigration. Everyone's entitled to their own opinion about immigration. However, they're not entitled to their own facts. Despite all the scary rhetoric about illegal immigrants, the fact is that immigration has been an unmitigated American success story. That's right. Throughout our history, immigrants have proven themselves indispensable to the American economic miracle. They've enriched our culture in every area, from language to food to music to literature. All these immigrants ask in return is a chance to earn a living and to create a better life for themselves and their family. There are those who claim under liberalized immigration policy, the world's poor would all move to the U.S., a catastrophe that would overwhelm us and drag us down. However, in the real world, the reverse has always been true. By welcoming the poorest of the poor, we've always become richer, not poorer. But what about the burden that low-level immigrants place on social services, you may ask? It's a serious concern for many people, but it is, unfortunately, a concern that is based upon misinformation. The truth of the matter, according to the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics and the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, is that immigrants, legal and illegal, actually pay more in taxes and consume less in social services than native-born Americans. But surely we must tighten up our borders to stop terrorists and prevent another September 11-like attack, right? Wrong. The 9/11 Commission report clearly showed that the 9/11 hijackers came into the U.S. through normal channels, and those who would sneak in find it easier, not harder, to hide when our laws create huge populations of workers who aren't allowed to enter through those normal channels. Can't we just build a big wall along the border and keep out illegal aliens that way? No, not really. Show me a 50-foot wall, and I'll show you a 51-foot ladder. Unlike those who would play upon your fears to advance their own agenda, I support open immigration. By that I mean the free movement over borders by peaceful people. It's not the government's job to figure out how many engineers or landscapers or programmers or farm workers the U.S. economy needs. The economy figures out those things for itself far more efficiently than some bureaucrat ever could. Capital, including human capital, moves to where it can be most profitably invested for all concerned, and it rolls right over government barriers to do so. In practice, this means that millions of immigrants arrive and will continue to arrive in the United States each year, regardless of what our government does to stop them. It also means that jobs and workers cannot be separated. Either the workers will come here or the jobs will go there. Clearly, it's better for the jobs to stay here. Right now, our repressive immigration policies force many of those immigrants to sneak in rather than walk in through the front door. Reasonable estimates put the number of illegal immigrants from Mexico alone in excess of 1 million annually. An entire industry of cross-border guides called coyotes is built around getting those immigrants into the U.S. to live and work. Those coyotes don't care one way or another whether the person they're smuggling into the U.S. is a janitor from Guadalajara or an Al-Qaeda fighter carrying the material to make a dirty bomb in Dallas. And our immigration policy gives the latter type of immigrant a huge crowd to hide himself in. The first step in providing for our national defense at the border is to let those who bear us no ill will come in through the front door, to walk across the border publicly and conveniently instead of sneaking over it in the middle of the night and in the middle of the desert. And believe me, they'd rather be welcomed than hunted. And welcoming them rather than hunting them will reduce the cover they provide for our enemies. The second step in providing for our national defense at the border is to refocus the government services which address that border away from hassling peaceful immigrants and towards detecting and eliminating real threats to the United States. As your president, I'd require the cooperation of Congress to take the first step, but I could take the second step with or without their help. I could order the executive branch departments which address immigration to direct their attention to real national security threats instead of toward whether some Slovenian visitor's visa is stamped tourist or student. I could order the Coast Guard to pay attention to its legitimate job of protecting our coast from attack by sea instead of trying to keep Cuban refugees from getting their feet on dry land so they can claim asylum. At the end of the day, a border is nothing more than an imaginary line on the ground drawn by politicians. What's important are not the lines themselves, but the people on either side of those lines. As your president, my job would be to secure the rights of people within the set of lines that has been drawn and to defend them from attack across those lines, not to impede peaceful people from crossing them. Thanks for stopping by, and let freedom grow.